This video is just going to be about brake safety and things that we're seeing on these buses, and another one that's in the shop right now with horrible brakes. So let's go through and talk about it. Maybe we can have a good discussion in the comments section about brake safety as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about brakes in this video, specifically brakes on these RVs. These are buses that are coming in here, but they're being used as RVs. This is shipped new from the factory to a converter, and then they turn it into an RV. I don't really know what the problem is, but so many that come in here, every bus, practically every bus that comes in here has seriously defective brakes. The owners don't know it. They've had it at other service centers. This bus has like $100,000 in recent receipts at other service centers that had work done on it. And the brakes are the worst brakes I've ever felt in a bus before. That should not be possible. Why is it different? What's happening with these RVs? I think part of the problem is that the systems are designed for very heavy use. Everything is tested for longevity and durability under obscene, hard, tough conditions. This bus is not seeing those conditions. Like if this bus was carrying passengers for Greyhound, it would be getting used every day, miles and miles on the highway, stopping, starting, all that stuff gets exercised and used. This bus, the first year or two of its life, it's being used quite a bit probably. Most people that, you pay $1 million for this, you use it for the first few years, or you use it every 6 months, you go to Florida and then you go back to where you live in Michigan or something like that. But the problem is then it gets passed on to another owner, or it just stops getting used and it sits for 5 or 6 years and none of those systems are working anymore. And things get rusted up and corroded and nobody knows what to check. Nobody knows what the brakes used to be like when it goes to the next owner. Mr. Sewell from Sewell Motor Coach, he's driven over 100 buses, Prevos and other RVs. And he just sent one of his buses here that we did work on and improved the brakes on it. And he immediately sent me a text and said, who knew that brakes could be that good on a bus? He's driven hundreds of them, and that's what his opinion was. He just didn't realize how good they were supposed to be. He immediately wanted me to fix his own personal RV's brake, go through his Prevo that he uses, his personal RV, to fix the brakes. He sent us this one here to get this one fixed up. This one is terrible. As we go through the video here, you'll see how bad things are, and we haven't even got into the systems yet. We've had ones comes in with broken brake drums, cracked rotors, stuck calipers, all these issues, and the owners were just driving them around thinking brakes on a bus just aren't that good. But it really should be. They're over-designed for the system, and these disc brakes that are on this bus like this are supposed to be way more effective than drum brakes. And I've had so many buses come in here with disc brakes that don't stop nearly as good as the drum brake stuff that we have. It's just because things are not working properly, and it has to do with the amount of, I can't imagine what else it is other than just these long periods of time that these things sit. And if you take it to a service center, they might fix a leaky brake chamber, but nobody's really paying attention to the whole system, how it's all working together and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna do a video quick, show some of the horrible things that we have with brakes that have come in here. I'll start off by talking about this bus and what we have going on with it. I'm not sure if it's a problem with the treadle valve or if it's a relay valve leaking backwards, but the brake pedal is extremely hard to depress in this. We'll show you the video, but for me, when I step on it, I have to be able to hold the steering wheel as leverage to be able to step on the brakes, even enough force to stop it from just moving when it's in gear. So as soon as I put it in drive, the bus started moving, and I had to push so hard that I was pulling up on that steering wheel, using it as leverage. I've never had to do that in a bus in my entire life. It scared me. Pulling into the shop, I went like 0.1 mile an hour. Kelly was like, why are you going so slow? I'm like, because I wanted to be able to stop. It's terrible. So we're gonna do a video here. We're just gonna show a bunch of bad brakes, and then at the end or in the comments, we can all discuss why we think this is. It's not just the owner's negligence. It's not. It's more than that. It's a much deeper problem. There is no air brake pre-trip inspection that RVs are required to do, but us as owners, we need to start doing that. That would catch a lot of the problems that would come in here, but most of them would only catch leaking air. We see so many other things beyond that. We're gonna get this bus into the shop. We know it has a problem. The ABS light is on it, so we'll see what's going on with that. I will tell you that revving up a 4-stroke to 2,000 RPMs is very boring. It is nothing compared to a 2-stroke. I got the air pressure coming up here to 120. Let it get up to 120, pop off before I move it, but we're getting real close. My foot is getting further and further away from the accelerator pedal as the air ride seat is going higher. This is a beautiful coach, but boy, I like the sound of the 2 strokes. Okay, This bus now has the worst brakes I've ever had on a bus. I let off. Oh my gosh, you really got to push hard. Wow. Crazy. I mean, I'm as much force as I can give on that pedal to stop. This is gonna be a slow hill climb because I don't want to go too fast because I know I gotta be able to stop it. I got it in the shop. I was going so slow, I was afraid of careening into the wall. Not to hurt the shop, but to hurt the bus because it's worth a lot more money.
It's a lot harder to push. Like, it doesn't even compare.
It's like if you wanted to push it all the way to the floor, could you do it? You have to hold the steering wheel to get the leverage to do it, right?
I still don't think I have it to the floor, and I'm pulling against.
Yeah. Try and do it all the way to the floor without grabbing the steering wheel. You're pulling yourself out of the seat.
I think I just made it to the floor.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how anybody drives this thing.
Okay, Kelly's in there. She's gonna step on the brake pedal. Just push a little bit on it. Let go. Press just a little bit. So it does stop it. If you push a little harder, okay, you go ahead and step on it. So it is locking up. And how hard do you think you're pushing?
Harder than I would in my car.
We'll go through and make this bus safe. We got to go through and figure out what's going on with the brakes on here. Just one thing to comment is that a lot of these are driven by elderly gentlemen who do not have the strength that it would require right now to stop this bus. I don't know how many, if there's other ones that are out there like this, but that's absolutely crazy. You know, it should not take more than a few pounds of force to push that brake pedal down to stop the bus. And when we're talking, you know, hundreds of pounds of foot force that you're putting into it, that is not right and not safe. So we'll go through it. It's a beautiful coach. But let's take a minute now. I'll go through some of the other issues that we've had come through the shop within the last year, and they all will scare you if you're concerned about brakes and safety. This is really scary to see here because on this bus, the parking brake is actually applied. This is the main drive axle brake, and we can actually spin this wheel freely with the brake all the way on. It doesn't stop it whatsoever. This bus a couple of years ago, I don't know how many years ago, had completely new brakes put on it. New brake linings, new brake drum, new brake chamber, all that was brand new, and it's never worked once. We can tell by the drum that the brake shoes have never touched it once. This has leaky wheel seal, not real bad, but we see that on almost every bus that comes in here usually has one leaky wheel seal. So we see a lot of it. This one not only has an extremely leaky wheel seal, we see everything's lubricated, but if you look closely at the brake drum here, you'll see it's broken completely all the way through. We're gonna have him step on the brakes here in a minute and you'll see the brake drum just open up. Oh. Hey, step on your brake for me. Wait, hang on a second. Jonathan, make this so the brake pad is just, go back just a little bit more. There you go. Yep, step on it. And release. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We see a lot of extreme heat checking. People aren't driving these right down the mountains and stuff like that. They're trying to go 70 miles an hour and then stop and hit the brakes too much and overheating everything. And they should never look like this. This is extreme. This bus here, when it came in, it had 4 of its 6 rotors were cracked and broken like that all the way through. 4 of them. this is caused by heat. But this isn't caused by heat from improper driving. This is caused by heat because the caliper slide pins were stuck. There's a problem with the maintenance issues on these brakes. The manufacturer used to recommend them being serviced twice in the lifetime of the brake pads, and they upped that interval to once every 6,250 miles or twice a year, whichever comes first. You don't go from a extremely long interval like that to something really short unless you know there's a problem with it. So with this kind of brake, you got to be careful of and make sure you're paying attention to that. This is a different brake setup here. This particular brake was driven by one of the governors of one of our states last year. It was his campaign bus. He did 11,000 miles in this bus last year, and all 6 of the rotors look like this. The brakes were not working on any of the hubs properly, and it's being driven around thousands of miles. Here's another cracked rotor on a different bus. It's just amazing how many times we see this over and over and over again. These buses are heavy. Now this here is just for you to understand what it's supposed to look like, because the next picture you may not recognize. That's the same thing. That's the brake pads on the rotor in the middle with the caliper on the side. Terrible. And then here's, again, more severe heat checking in drums. You can stick a screwdriver in these openings, they're so big. This was a completely seized brake caliper slide pin. The caliper has to be able to slide back and forth on this, and when it's seized, it doesn't move right. Terrible. Well, let's have a discussion in the comments about this. Why do we think we're having all these issues with these RVs that are coming in? It is not all negligence on the owners of the RVs. Don't just come down on them, it's not. It's not just negligence on the shops that they're taking it to, although some of it would definitely be, but that's not the sole problem here. Why are we seeing all these issues? What's the deal? They're across the board. It's nearly every bus that comes in here has some type of an issue with the brakes. And I don't think we should be seeing that many. We need to make the road safer for everybody. I mean, the air brake pre-trip inspection, while not required by law, that is exempt for RV owners, I do not understand, because they're so heavy and the drivers don't even have the professional training that a real, a pro driver has with a CDL, but they have less testing they have to do for safety things. That's just crazy. We should be required to do it. Even though we're not by law, we should mandatorily make ourselves do it. That would find air leaks. You're allowed to leak up to 2 and 3 PSI a minute when you're holding the brakes down, and we have buses come in here that leak over 30 PSI a minute. So clearly that is on the owner, that test should have been easily done before they hopped in the bus and drove it anywhere. We need to make these things safer. There's not very many of them on the road, and that's the only reason why the statistics aren't there with fatal accidents all the time, because there's not as many of them as other vehicles on the road. But if you look at the number of RVs that are on the road and how many of them are not safe, that percentage is extremely high. The insurance companies are going to catch up with us on this, and it's going to be very hard to get insurance. It already is. We're not seeing the number of accidents only because the number of overall RVs is low. But we have to be able to make things better and safer for everybody. But again, let's talk in the comments respectfully, please. Talk in the comments about what we think we can do to make things better and educate each other and share experiences and what we think is going on. It's only going to make it better for all of us as bus owners.